It all began on a quiet summer afternoon when Karen, the notorious HOA enforcer, decided she had the right to criticize my cabin for having an ugly design. Armed with her clipboard, a sense of self-importance, and zero awareness of legal boundaries, she set out to make my life difficult. What she didn't realize was that her audacity would backfire in spectacular fashion, leaving her humiliated and powerless. I first became aware of her interference when neighbors reported seeing Karen photographing my cabin, scribbling notes, and muttering about violations and standards. Security cameras confirmed her repeated visits, showing her wandering the property without permission and attempting to assert authority she did not possess. Her confidence was staggering, as though she believed that her personal taste could override property law. Rather than confronting her immediately, I devised a strategic plan. I documented every visit, every statement, and every attempt at intimidation. I also researched HOA rules thoroughly, confirming that there were no legal grounds for her complaints. The more Karen acted, the more evidence accumulated that would eventually expose her overreach and arrogance. Karen then escalated her tactics. She began contacting neighbors, spreading misinformation that my cabin violated regulations, and attempting to gather support for her imagined cause. Unbeknownst to her, I had already coordinated with local authorities and legal counsel to monitor her actions and ensure that any harassment would be fully documented. The turning point came when I decided to respond in kind, but strategically. I purchased a portion of land adjacent to Karen's own property and, with legal permits in place, transformed it into the community's new dump site. Piles of debris, construction materials, and landscaping waste were placed carefully to block her view and inconvenience her daily routines, all while remaining fully within the bounds of the law. Karen's reaction was immediate and priceless. She stormed to my cabin, waving her clipboard and yelling about standards and community rules. I calmly documented her behavior while pointing out that every action I had taken was legal, permitted, and fully within my rights. Meanwhile, neighbors and authorities who had been monitoring the situation witnessed her futile attempts to intimidate me. Her panic intensified when she realized that her attempts to criticize my cabin had led to a dramatic, legal, and humiliating consequence for herself. The HOA was notified, and her actions were officially reprimanded. Neighbors whispered about her audacity and the spectacular backfire of her schemes, cementing her reputation as someone who repeatedly overreached and failed. I didn't stop there. To prevent future harassment, I implemented permanent safeguards, security cameras, legal documentation, and strategic property improvements that ensured Karen's inability to influence or intimidate me. Her attempt to control my cabin's design had inadvertently triggered a chain of events that guaranteed her futility in all future interactions. From my vantage point, observing Karen retreat, flustered and humiliated, I reflected on the lesson she had learned. She had tried to impose her tastes and enforce imaginary rules, assuming audacity could replace legality. Instead, she had encountered preparation, strategic thinking, and the full exercise of legal authority, resulting in her complete failure. The moral was unmistakable. Overreach, arrogance, and attempts to manipulate control are no match for preparation, legal knowledge, and strategic action. Karen had tried to criticize my cabin for having an ugly design, but in the end, she had only secured her own humiliation while I gained control over the situation and demonstrated the consequences of her audacity.